Hey yo, welcome to Elevated Reactions. Today we get elevated with the Akkadian Empire. Yes, we're learning about the Akkadian Empire, one of the first civilizations in history, or in Mesopotamia. They're gonna tell us. Let's fucking go.
Better days are coming to see. Visions are for you and me. Elevate your soul.
Okay, welcome back to Elevated Reactions, alright? I got elevated a little before this. I did some meditation, smoked some weed, so I'm calm but also excited to learn about some history. And without further ado, let's go. Let's just get right into it.
The Akkadians are part of the lineage of the Semitic, who inhabited the region of northern Syria. The Akkadians arrived in Mesopotamia around 2550 BC. They were probably looking for fertile land to settle. Right at the beginning of their expansion, the Akkadians and Sumerians had some quarrels, followed by a period of peace, which was very fruitful for the Akkadians. They kept
Next, we have to learn about the Sumerians. Oh, they already suggested it to us. That's on the agenda. Send some suggestions. Send some videos for the Sumerians. We're trying to get cultured. Let's get it.
trade alive and an exchange of cultural linguistic relations with the Sumerians, adopting and adapting the style of cuneiform writing. But, unlike the Sumerians, who valued the development of the arts and sciences, the Akkadians were bellicose people and held war in great esteem. The Akkadians were also polytheistic. As time passed, their gods mixed with the Sumerian deities. A good example is the goddess of fertilization Ishtar, who for the Akkadians originated from the goddess Namu, who was the goddess of the seas for the Sumerians. The Akkadians then regarded their kings as deities, or referred to them as envoys of the gods to command their subjects on earth. The Akkadian kings also held the title of supreme priests. The coexistence between Akkadians and Sumerians had reached a point of harmony.
These niggas look like me. I might be Akkadian in this bitch. I might have to get a DNA test. What's that? This blackancestry.com? We might have to do that. I might be half Akkadian or some shit.
Nevertheless, the Sumerians controlled much of the region's trade, which prevented the development of the Akkadian cities. The Sumerians were always surrounded by enemies. There were the enemy kingdoms of the Elamites and the Hurrian, and many other nomadic tribes that kept invading Sumerian lands. Also, the Sumerians had internal wars, with one city-state trying to defeat the other. Then, around 2375 BC, the
Jesus
Sumerian
Christ.
king Lugal-Zaggisi unified all Sumerian cities after several battles. Lugal-Zaggisi ruled the Sumerians for about 30 years. During this period, the Sumerians and Akkadians already lived almost as one people, having several members of the nobility of both peoples sharing positions in society. Suddenly, in the Sumerian city of Kish, Sargon emerged, who later became known as Sargon the Great. The origin of Sargon is not clear. The text written in clay at the time is incomplete, and it's also not clear how he managed to ascend to the throne. On the clay plate, the following was written.
Real quick, imagine writing about a ruler and having to write his story down on a big ass clay tablet and carry that bitch around. No wonder why no one had no idea what was going on at this time. They thought these motherfuckers were gods because they had to write on these big ass tablets. Never really like wrote down they always like over exaggerated. I felt. I'm learning.
In Akkadian, Sargon, whose father was a gardener, the cupbearer of Ur-Zababa, became king, the king of Akkadian, who built Akkad. He ruled for 56 years. After taking power over the city of Kish, Sargon declared war against the Sumerian king Lugal-Zaggisi and attacked the city of Uruk, which was conquered after a fierce battle. Lugal-Zaggisi was captured during the battle, and Sargon, as a sign of his superiority and disdain for the enemies, he put a collar around the neck of the defeated king and dragged him to the gates of his city. After
Damn.
that major victory, Sargon and his army kept conquering the other Sumerian cities and territories of the Elamites and Hurrians, creating the first empire in history. The first
Sargon was a dick. Like he just took his city. He didn't have to put a collar on his neck. Jesus.
Mesopotamian Empire. Sargon's fame was so vast that he started to be called sovereign of the four corners of the earth, and his empire spread from Syria to the Persian Gulf, and even reached the Mediterranean Sea.
Mm.
Sargon was so powerful and influential that he's even mentioned in Babylonian texts. Exalting his deeds, the Babylonians wrote, Sargon had no rival, no equal. His splendor spread upon the lands. At the same time of Sargon's grandiose achievements, war was a frequent reality for the peoples of Mesopotamia, which generated efforts to improve the military equipment used by the Akkadian soldiers. The
Mm.
Akkadians worshipped lions, had sculptures and paintings of these animals in their temples and palaces, and some records refer that these animals were captured to be used in battles. Sargon died around 2215 BC at about 85 years of age, a very impressive age for the time. Soon after his death, many uprisings took place throughout the empire, and Sargon's offspring failed to maintain power for long. Little by
That's what
little,
usually
the Akkadians
happens.
were subjugated by
Once
the
the
Goths, a
ruler
tribe of
once
nomads.
the ruler passes, once the person that established everything usually passes, their children takes over and then it crumbles because like I find at times while reading like, little reading that I've done, is that usually like these children they're very they're trained and highly like skilled in battle, but they like lack the hunger and lack the drive that their like father or like whoever came before them once had. So they usually get greedy, and shit like this happens. They get taken over.
From the Zagros Mountains at the top of the Tigris River. After 2 centuries of existence, the first great empire in history collapsed. Sargon the Great was a powerful figure and inspired the kings of the Middle East for many generations to come.
Wow. Yeah, that was great. I really enjoyed it. That made me really want to like learn more about the Sumerians because like it always seems like the the empires that rise that are like based off of more of art and philosophy and like more like artistic like empires, something like the more cultural empires are usually taken over by the empire that has like a little like edge on them that wants to like come over and just like really conquer instead of like really being a big society or big culture. Um, but yeah, I definitely like want to like look up more about the Akkadian Empire. Like, it seems like they're like heavily influenced by the Sumerians. So if we look up the Sumerians, some Akkadians might come in. So please send some suggestions about the Sumerians. I don't only do like history shit. Like I just want to learn. I just want to get cultured a little bit more. You know, I already feel like I'm pretty cultured, but I want to get a little more cultured, learn a little more about history, African history, American history, European history, doesn't matter. Science, arts, send some just suggestions about that also. Music, we're gonna do that also. We're just gonna do a bunch of different shit. I'm just gonna get lifted, elevated in some form, some meditation, drinking. If you wanna smoke, whatever, we can do that too. You feel me? We're just gonna get elevated, watch some videos, react to them. Like, subscribe. Thank you for listening. Follow me on all social medias. Blessings. Peace out.